You never guess what? We're here today with Tom Seals. Hi, Tom.
Hello, how are you?
And I think many people now we're in lockdown will be familiar with your virtual self in isolation, the Tom Seals Show. Um, so tell us first of all how you became a virtual TV star. Now, having embarked on this route as a singer, writer, performer, composer, and how the TV show came about.
Well, it sort of came about because, like everybody, we're adapting in these, in these strange times. I was meant to do a show in March, a live show called the Tom Seals Show. Now, you see, I've always gone out with the band, and we called it the Tom Seals Band. Now, when I had this idea of a different style of show, I wanted people to know it was different. Therefore, we couldn't call it the Tom Seals Band. It had to be called the Tom Seals Show. Now, my idea of a live show was similar to Jools, or similar to even Graham Norton, where the guest would come on, a celebrity guest. They would come and we'd sit and have a chat for 5 or 10 minutes, quite an in-depth chat. But then one thing that I noticed that never really happened with that was that Graham Norton, for example, would then never go over to the band and play with them. So I thought, well, this would be quite an interesting concept if we got Beyonce to come on and we have a chat about, what she's doing in lockdown. And then we go over to my band and we play a few songs together. Now, of course, that idea of the live show was planned for March and it got cancelled. So when lockdown happened, I decided to try and take it online and do an in-isolation version of the show where I would do the interviews over Zoom or over Skype or over the internet. And then we would do a remote duet with my band and the guest. So, for example, we did it with Katie Tunstall. I did it with Matt Lucas. And Sarah Jane Morris and loads of cool people. I ended up putting a show together from my apartment. So yeah, that was where it was all born on iPhones.
And what I loved, and what's remarkable, is the kind of the high production values of certainly of the last 3 episodes. I mean,
Yeah.
How did you kind of step up the production to? I mean, it's pretty much broadcast quality.
Well, it certainly went up a notch, and obviously by the end it wasn't iPhones. I'm really lucky that I have a friend that has a production company, has the big van where he can turn up, and it's like, it is broadcast quality. It is production quality. We had 5 or 6 cameras. We had all the gear, and luckily he has a bit of an idea as well, which does help. And I got to work with this incredible production company called Fat Pigeon Live. They came along and said, Tom, we like what you're doing. We believe in you. We like the band. We can help you take it to that next level. And that's what we did. Now, I'm in an apartment. I don't have a garden. So and we looked at all the government guidelines, and we knew that we could have 6 people in the garden. So luckily, I knew that my mum wanted her garden redoing at some point soon. So I rang her and I said, Mum, do you don't mind if I just ruin your grass for the next 3 or 4 weeks, do you? And we took a big marquee and we set the band up and brought all the cameras in, and we filmed it from my mum's back garden for a few weeks, which was fun.
And I mean, preceding the Tom Seals Show, you've got a good number of years' experience on the road, performing all manner of things. But the journey started off at Lipper, where you enrolled in I guess music college. What happened there? Did you complete the course?
Well, I went there doing a popular music course, and I guess my head was turned. I had 2 offers. I could either go to Leeds and study jazz, or go to LIPA, the Liverpool Institute for Performing Arts, which of course is Paul McCartney's old school, which he bought and turned it into a fame school. That was his idea. He wanted to turn it into people dancing in the corridors and pirouetting down the stairs as they pass each other. So I chose LIPA. I went with the popular music route. And no, I didn't finish. After about 18 months, I was getting offered work. And it was getting to a stage where I was saying to the lecturers every week, I can't make this lesson because I'm doing this. I can't make that lesson because I'm doing this. And they just pulled me aside and said, Tom, the aim of music school is to come out of the other end and get into paid work. And you're getting offered that now, so go and take it. We'll always be here if you want to come back, but go and take the work. And luckily, I've been working ever since. So.
Let's talk a little bit about the style that you've developed over the years, because a lot of us have, I guess, first got to know you as one of the boogie woogie cats, one of the guys that played on those boogie woogie festivals. So tell us about how you started there, and then how you then emerged and took on more influences to the sound you have today.
It's been a really strange progression, really. You know, I was brought up, my granddad had a big band, so every week I'd go and watch the big band playing Glenn Miller, Duke Ellington, Sinatra, all these people. And that was the music that I first fell in love with. And still now, I think that's the one thing eventually I would like the big band. But just at the minute, it's just not practical to take 30 people on the road. But one day we'll do it. And I sort of think it developed from there, really. I was having piano lessons from a young age. I went to a lady called Claire, and she said to my mum, it's like he just makes it up as he goes along. So obviously that then took me away from the classical piano lessons, and I went to a different teacher. And then he bought me a CD, which was sort of boogie woogie piano legends, Albert Hammond's and all these people. And that's when I sort of went down that road of boogie piano. And I guess that was my first sort of change, really, from the big band style. But now I think it's really difficult to describe my sound now, because I always say that I'm too jazzy for blues festivals, and I'm too bluesy for jazz festivals. So it's a hard thing to pin down. But I think that's kind of, in a way, it's, you know, the pluses and minuses. The minuses are I can't tell you what I am, but the pluses is that if you like jazz, blues, big band, boogie woogie, swing, pop, all of that, then you know you're probably going to enjoy one of our gigs. So yeah, it's been a nice progression.
And I spoke to Ben Waters a couple of months ago, actually, but before lockdown, and both you and he, I think, shared a stage at one of Jools Holland's events. So how did you get to know Jools and get invited to that event?
Well, that's the proudest thing of my career so far, to get to work with the guy that is my hero. I was born, like I said, I was brought up in this big band thing, and of course at that time, Jools was and is the guy to go and watch with a big band in this country. So I remember going to see Jools when I was maybe about 10 or 11, I think, for the first time, and I saw him so many times after that. Luckily, my mum took me to see him. And then how did I get to meet him? I don't really know. I guess I thought, well, if I just kind of try and nick his band, eventually I'll get to meet him. So I invited his bass player of 27 years, I think, Dave Swift, and he does a few gigs with me in London. And Derek Nash, the sax player, he came and did a few gigs with me. So slowly but surely, I sort of got my way in there with the band, and then they'd invite me to the Jools gigs, and I got to meet Jools. And then Dave, was so gracious to say, Jools, this is Tom who I'm playing with. He's a great piano player, da-da-da-da-da. And eventually things just keep going, and I kept bumping into him at things, and I kept meeting him. And then there was the Boysdale Jools Holland Boogie Woogie and Blues Spectacular nights. And I do a lot with Boysdale anyway. I do a couple of residencies there a year. And eventually I got asked to come and play with Jools. And luckily, the first time I played there was mental. There was two pianos, so it was dueling pianos. Like you said, there was myself and Ben Waters, Neville, Dickie, Axel Swingenberger, La Diva, Jools. Some great piano players. But there wasn't just that. There was Dave Swift on bass. There was Gilson Lavis from Squeeze on drums, and then Chaz and Dave on bass and guitar, and then Hugh Laurie. And Hugh Laurie was was Jools' special guest. So it was this surreal night of going on stage for the first time, playing with my hero. And I've been so lucky that he's invited me back every year since. So yeah, that's cool.
One thing that I think that makes you stand out in particular is the strength of your voice. Is that something you had all the way along, or did you have to work on it and you've only just kind of found your sound now?
I've definitely not had it all along. I remember I got a residency in a wine bar when I was 13. It was my first paid gig. And I know I was the best paid 13-year-old in Cheshire, that's for sure, when I was getting £30 every Sunday to go and play for 4 or 5 hours. But then I realised I don't have enough. I was 13, of course, I didn't have enough material to play for that long. But I soon realised that actually all the other people that were doing this gig sang. And I always wondered why. And I thought, well, it's obviously just because they're padding out their time to have less material. So I didn't sing for years, and obviously I just focused on my piano playing. But when I was about 19, 20, I thought, I'm going to have to start singing here because I need to make myself more more employable, I guess. And it was all about wanting a career in music. I've never wanted anything else. And the thought of getting a real job horrifies me. So I thought, I'm going to have to learn to sing. And like you say, I finally, only recently, I think only in the past maybe 18 months, 2 years, have I felt that the voice and the piano are now working together, which is really nice. And I'm still finding out new things about my voice. I'm still experimenting on new things. So hopefully in 5 years, I'll be all right.
And now that you've developed this personality, this sound of your own, and your profile from working alongside others, you're now able to call upon some of the people that you sort of appeared with, like Gregory Porter, Jamie Cullum, to like collaborate and to work with.
Well, I hope so. And, you know, I totally appreciate that if I rang Jamie or Gregory or Jools and said, I'm doing a show in my kitchen on an iPhone, would you get involved? They, you know, we all know they'd probably say no. But like you've said, and we've already spoke about, the things are progressing, and things are progressing quicker than I would have thought, really. You know, I've gone from 6 weeks ago filming something in the kitchen to then filming it broadcast quality in my mum's garden. And now we've just been offered a pilot with a Sky and Freeview TV channel, which is great. You know, in the space of 6 weeks, we've gone from that to that, which I'm really pleased with. But the reality is, if we keep going and we keep working as hard as we have, then if it goes to the next level, then yeah, I'm sure, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll be able to pull in some more favors from these people.
And I mean, you're already doing pretty well in the one of the isolation shows. There are a couple of familiar faces that I recognise from the music scene and other bands. One that I remarked on that I've known for quite a few years is Jim Kirkpatrick from FM, Bernie Marsden. How did you get to know Jim?
Well, me and Jim, he lives about 5 minutes away down the road. So I've always known him from when I first started gigging. We were doing the sort of local pub scene together. And then, of course, I saw Jim stop really on that scene, and he went with, like you say, Bernie Marsden FM, Brian May, and he went off to do that. And we've not really played a lot together in the past, but I've always admired him. I've always looked up to him. He's helped me, you know, because we're from the same place. You sort of stick together a bit, I guess. And if I've ever needed any help, I've rang him and said, Jim, I've been offered this as an older, wiser head. What do you reckon? And he's always given me his honest opinion. So it was great to see him, great to play with him again. And of course, he's a great player.
And you mentioned an offer to take the Thomas Shield show, proper broadcast with Sky. What have you got in mind for that? Is there particular material, new original material you're working towards?
Yeah, at the moment, it's only kind of happened in the last couple of weeks. So we're still at the early stages. We think we found the venue to film it, which is, I'm very, I appreciate people's belief in me. So my band have been with me forever. And the fact I really like where I'm from Crewe in Cheshire, which of course is a big train place. So I wanted to keep it sort of real and what felt natural to me. So the pilot that we're going to be filming in August, in about a month's time, I'm hoping it's going to be really linked to Crewe. We're going to have a lot about the heritage, the Heritage Centre, which is a big train place. And I just thought we could do something a bit cooler. I don't want to make it look like £1 million studio, because it's not £1 million studio. Let's make it cool and real and make people feel like, no, this is something a bit different. And alongside that, I'm working on my first album, which is really exciting. I guess it's taken so long because I've always struggled to write my own original material. That may be for a couple of things: lack of confidence with my original stuff, or the fact that I don't really enjoy sitting at the piano and writing might be one of them. But I've been teamed up with a guy called Jolly and Skinner and Barry Eastman, who Barry's got about 65 million record sales, and he's in New York, and we've been writing together, the three of us, on over the internet during lockdown. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm hoping that we can tie it all in together. We've got some huge names lined up for the pilot. I'm hoping that we're going to have some original material. It's going to be grassroots. It's going to be cool. It's going to be local. You know, it's going to be emotionally sort of invested from myself. I don't know. I'm really excited about it. I think there's lots of different avenues to take it down, but I think it'll be different. And that's what I think the people, especially at Sky and Freeview, have seen, that it is just a little bit different, but it's good. It's good music. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about it.
So, having gone through all this progression, working with new writers, have you got a particular style or sound in mind that you want to sort of establish as your identity, as you kind of strive for that next level of success?
Yeah, kind of. And I think the influences have come from different places because, like I said about Barry is Billy Ocean's main man. He's his MD and does all this stuff. So, of course, them guys are bringing in a real sort of almost like retro soul kind of style. But then that's the song style. But then once I get hold of that song and I turn it into my style, which again, like we said, I really struggle to describe what that is. Hopefully we come up with something new that people go, oh, this sounds familiar and I like it, but I don't know why I like it. I don't know why it's familiar because it isn't what I already know. Therefore, that's why I like it, because it's different and it's cool. So the honest answer is I don't really know until I get my hands on the songs, which I have done at home just myself, until I can get my hands on them songs with my band, which we haven't had a chance to do yet. I think the songs will go in completely different directions. But that's the exciting part, because I know the songs right now and they're great songs, but how they're going to end up, I've no idea. Yeah,
because the band you've got that performed on the In Isolation sessions, it's a real eclectic mix of styles.
Mm. Definitely. We've got Joel Barford, the drummer, who is just this ridiculously young guy who is in no doubt the best young jazz drummer in the country, but he's real hard-hitting jazz, which I'm really not. So he brings that influences. Then we've got Bjorn Woodall on the guitar, who did 2 world tours on private jets with Bruno Mars, you know, and he brings this real cool funk style, which again, that's not me. But when we put all these styles together, and you know, my bass player Nick Bays, he's in a punk band called Headsticks as his weekend role. So we've got this real mix of musicians, but the ultimate, the sort of running theme throughout is that the musicianship is really high. So when we come together, I feel we just bring something completely different, which is, yeah, it's cool.
That's going to be really refreshing for you, because a lot of what I've read about you and your background is great, but then there are these people that sort of keep coming back to sort of the Elton John similarity and the Elton Tom analogy as well.
Yeah, that was. I wish I should have copyrighted Elton Tom a few years ago, just in case. But Elton's a really, you know, it's a weird one. When I was growing up, that's all I got. You know, the sort of ginger-haired guy with glasses that plays the piano. Oh, he's Elton John. And because of that, I completely pushed away Elton. I was like, no, don't want to listen to him, don't want to entertain it, don't want this, don't want that. And a few years ago, I got invited to an Elton John gig. And I thought, well, you know, tickets are free, so let's go. And I went and I got to go backstage. I didn't get to meet him, unfortunately, but I did go to see him. And obviously, you don't need me to tell you this, he's absolutely incredible. I don't know why I rejected the thought of it for so long. And like you say, it must have been because the obvious similarities and almost the sort of Mickey taken out of me because of that similarity, that I just completely dismissed him. But when I saw him live, I'm now the biggest Elton John fan.
So you're a rocket man and a rocket fan, and hopefully you'll be taking your own rocket ride on your career as it progresses. I mean, it's always great to talk to you, Tom, and you know, we're really looking forward to hearing the new tracks for your album when those are fully baked. And when that show airs.
As a little teaser to the album, we've just recorded. Well, we're finishing it this week. All in Isolation So none of the boys have been together when we've recorded this. We've recorded a tune called Black Coffee. It's an old jazz standard, but we've really turned it on its head, and we're going almost Tower of Power with it. And it's funky. It's sort of New Orleans funk, soul-y, bluesy thing, but with a sort of real blues piano solo. So it's, again, a real mixture of styles. And we're hoping to have it finished next week. So within a few weeks, that will be out. So we're going to be releasing this tune called Black Coffee as just a little teaser for the album, which will be next year.
And people can check out what you're up to on, is it tomseals.co.uk, Tom Seals on the socials?
Yeah, come. I'm really trying on Instagram at the minute. I tried and then I gave up because I got bored with it. But now I'm trying, so don't let me down. Come to Instagram at Tom Seals, all one word, or tomseals.co.uk, and it's all on there. You'll see it all on there.
Brilliant. Again, a pleasure, and look forward to what happens next. Take care.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye.